Hi, gorgeous souls, and welcome to our soul-led conversation for today. I standing here in the kitchen of my father, um, making myself a hot chocolate in that little tiny lovely pot. There, I have everything ready. Um, and I thought I used the time. I used the time to have a soul-led conversation with yourself. So what came up for me today while talking with my stepmom was really interesting because we talked about like how everybody has their own rules in their life, and most of the people out there, they're living to rules that other people made for them. So it was either their parents or their grandparents or the community they grew up in. And it's funny because every time I go into the next level, every time I raise my vibration, every time I learn more about myself and what suits me, like just me, not anybody else, just me, I uncover more rules that I made up as a tiny human, like Aiden and Ori and Lucan stage. Like they're 5, 3, and 9 months today. Today is Ori's 9-month birthday, so we celebrated a little bit, a teeny tiny bit. But it was like nice to see. But every time I take a step further in my spiritual journey, in my spiritual growth, I come across more rules that other people made up or I made up in like when I was 3 years old and somebody said something to me, and I thought to myself, oh no, I will never do that again because this has that consequence, which when you know little children or how you thought and when you were little, that doesn't make much sense most of the time, to be honest. But we still keep living with these rules in our heads, and it has to be that way. And so whenever I come across something, oh, I have to put you down for a second. I have to put the cocoa in. Oh, this is really bright. Wait. There we go. This should work. Okay, so every time, this is a very flattering angle, isn't it? So every time I come across something where I think like, no, it has to be this way, I get really curious. It's one of my alert phrases, if you want to call it that. I know that in his book Vishen Lakiani from Mind Valley, he calls these rules that we make up or that we take as granted from our parents and from our grandparents and from society. He calls them rules. This is short code for bullshit rules. And so going forward, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, sorry, this is probably loud for you, just give me a second. Okay, I'm almost done, finished with my cocoa, and I have this beautiful cup. Can you see it? There. It's so gorgeous with all the colors. It makes me really happy. So, when you hear yourself say like, this is just the way it is, or it has to be that way, or something along the lines of that, be really careful. Watch out. Really have a look at, is this really true for me? Does this bullshit rule, does this rule really, really suit me, my life, my circumstances, how it is right now? And I just, I get really, really curious when I hear myself say that. And in that conversation with my stepmom today, we talked about how in your teenage years you get sick of the rules that others make for you. Sick of the rules that your parents make for you, and you want to make your own rules, and you get really, really frustrated with like they built their life or how they do things. And even now being here and being at my father-in-law's house for the last 7-8 weeks, I have just noticed like they all have their own rules, and most of them don't make sense to me because they have very different standards and very different priorities than the way I want to. Sorry, this is really not optimal. I won't do that again. I will make my cocoa from now on and then join in for the solar conversation. You see, I'm learning right here, right now, because I'm distracted by making my cocoa, my hot chocolate. So yes, so while having that there, it's not even my kitchen, so I'm searching where things go. While having that conversation with my stepmom, I really enjoyed myself. I felt like, yeah, it's true. As teenagers, we are longing. We're longing for that. Making our own rules, and then we move out and then we do the things anyway, how our parents did them. When we're not aware and we're not conscious. Oh, it will be very yummy, yes. Like beautiful Swiss cocoa in oat milk with honey. It can only be delicious. There we go, we're almost finished. Okay. Now cocoa is in the cup and I will sit down with you because I feel we're getting into the juice right now. Oh, it's lovely to be not by myself, talking to myself here. Now, Katharina and everybody who's joining live or on the replay. I have my cup. I have you with me. So here we go. Cheers. So yes, every time you catch yourself, think like it has to be that way. I bet there are at least 15 other ways to do it. And you need to find the way that suits you and doesn't work against who you are. Because that doesn't make sense to me. And like if this works for somebody else, even if it works for your partner, and you're living in a marriage or in a partnership, you're living together, and it makes sense the way he or she does it for them, doesn't mean it makes sense for you to do it that way. You need to find your own way. And for me, every time I get into a new level, it's really like, does this really apply to me? Does this still apply to me? Do I need to rewrite the rules? Do I need to find new ways to relate to myself, to the people around me, to the circumstances? And so yeah, be really mindful. Be really mindful by whose rules you're playing by. Is that the correct, grammatically correct term? I think so. Like, be really, really mindful. Like, when you hear something, like, it has to be that way. Whose voice is it in, even? Like, ask yourself, like, who am I hearing talk right now? Earlier, I was hanging up the washing, and my stepmom was like, "Oh, just hang it anyway. Like, just throw it on there," basically, because it was like 5 pieces. But it was so trained into me to hang the washing a certain way to dry it most effectively. So I'm like, ooh, another rule that doesn't make always sense. If I'm in a hurry, if I only have 2 minutes until I need to leave, whatever, of course I can just throw it on and don't have to hang it, like, properly. So it's just the teeny tiny things that I come across every day now, living in other people's houses and seeing them close up, doing their own thing, living their own life, being so caged in by their own bullshit rules. And I don't swear often, but here it's very appropriate. It's just like, why are you doing it that way if you can do it like so much easier when you do it like this, this, and this? And it would even suit you. But here's the thing. The only one I can make these rules for is for myself. And I can let Dennis, my husband, know about my own bullshit rules, right? So he understands why I do the things I do. Because that makes living together easier. And of course, I can teach them to my children until they discover their power to make their own rules and build the life that they want to live. Yeah, I could go on and on about this, but I think I'm just gonna enjoy my hot chocolate now and leave you with this thought. Maybe you discovered some rules that you won't follow any longer and find another framework or another rule that applies better to your circumstances and the situation you are in, like just you. Nobody else, just you. Nobody else knows about what you have been through, where you are, what works for you. Like we're all the same underneath, and still this is the beauty of life, that we're all so different, and that brings all the different colors into this world, and we have to embrace that too. So yes, examine your rules and make your own. I'll leave you with this. If you are enjoying these solo conversations, I have opened up 3 one-to-one spots for the last quarter. So it's tomorrow, I counted. Tomorrow it's 111 days is left of this year. So if there's something that you want to be supported in, a change that is happening, I'm really good in supporting transitions because I'm really good in doing them too. I would love to be there for you. So message me if you're interested in that. And also I'm having an in-person live group retreat in Ireland in May next year. And so if you feel your soul in you going like, yes, I want to be there, let me know too. And we can discuss the details then. That's me today. Look at your rules and write me if you find a really stupid one, because I love to laugh about them with you. Not about you, but with you. And just, yeah, I'm always curious to find more bullshit rules in my own life too. I'm sending you love. So much love and light. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Mwah.